Here's your First Warn Weather Forecast First, sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
Compared to the last several hot and humid afternoons, it was much more comfortable today as temperatures were only making their way back to the mid-80s. There was still a little bit of lingering humidity behind that cold front, but a lot of that continues to clear out here late into the evening, already dropping some temperatures down into the 70s out to the north and to the northwest. We're also looking at clear skies we head into the rest of the evening tonight, and that paired with high pressure overhead will allow our temperature to drop back down into the 60s for overnight lows, even reaching the upper 50s possibly for a few spots. I'll let you know when we could see our temperatures rebound again as we head into the weekend. Another day in the 90s, but another cool down on the way after that. I'll let you know when, coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
Major rulings come from the highest court in the nation. Reaction from the president and local lawmakers on the Supreme Court's decisions. Plus, a semi-driver pleads guilty in the death of a sheriff's deputy. He admits he was under the influence when he smashed into her squad car. And a baby born with a rare heart defect is treated in Madison. Her mother gets community support as she works to make ends meet.
Live from WTVO 17, this is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Thanks for joining us. Tonight at 5, the Supreme Court rules federal district courts do not have the power to block President Trump's executive orders. The 6-3 decision is tied to Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. The justices not making a decision on the legality of that order today. Perry Russum reports from D.C.
With today's Supreme Court ruling, President Trump can move forward with implementing the end of birthright citizenship, at least for now. The High Court not ruling on whether his executive order is constitutional, but whether federal district courts have the power to issue nationwide injunctions.
It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a liberal judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years because their decision would sometimes take years to overturn.
After Trump signed his day one executive order to end birthright citizenship.
Birthright. That's a big one.
Federal judges in 3 states ruled the ban violates the Constitution's 14th Amendment, issuing nationwide injunctions blocking it from going into effect. Birthright citizenship has been guaranteed by the Constitution for more than 150 years. In today's 6-3 decision, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, with the opinion of the court, writing, universal injunctions likely exceed the equitable authority that Congress has given to federal courts.
This was only about whether the district judge could enjoin the enforcement of that nationwide.
Trump's executive order remains blocked for the 22 states and individual pregnant women who brought the case.
In the end, this ruling does nothing more than guarantee that the fight and the movement towards justice continues.
This is not the end of birthright citizenship's legal challenges. The merits of the order have yet to be heard by the High Court. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, writing in dissent, as every conceivable source of law confirms, birthright citizenship is the law of the land. Trump appears to see today's ruling as a green light to enact more of his agenda.
Thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis.
Trump's order to end birthright has a 30-day grace period, so right now any child born in the U.S. is an American citizen. Perry Russum, ABC News at the Supreme Court.
U.S. Senator Dick Durbin responding to the Supreme Court's ruling today. Durbin says in part, quote, the Supreme Court just issued a devastating blow to the separation of powers that's enshrined in our Constitution. He goes on to say, by issuing this ruling, the Supreme Court is stating that courts cannot block even the most lawless actions of the Trump administration on a nationwide basis. Meanwhile, State Representative Joe Sosnowski issued the following statement on the Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling. He says, quote, today's common sense ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court restores the principle of separation of powers required under the U.S. Constitution that has been abused by activist judges in recent years. He adds, today's ruling is a major victory for checks and balances and the rule of law. The Supreme Court issued multiple other rulings today. One allows parents to opt their kids out of lessons taught with LGBTQ books. The court sided with a group of religious parents claiming their district violated their religious rights by refusing to let them pull their children out of the classroom when such books were used. The court also ruled to preserve a key part of the Affordable Care Act and to uphold a law blocking kids from accessing pornography online. A DeKalb man pleads guilty in the death of a sheriff's deputy. Nathaniel Sweeney took a plea deal in court yesterday. He pleaded guilty to aggravated DUI causing death. The other charges against him, including reckless homicide, were dropped. Deputy Christina Musil was parked on the shoulder of Route 23. This was back in March of 2024 when Sweeney's commercial truck ran off the road and slammed into the back of her squad car. She later died at the hospital. Musil was with the sheriff's office for 5 years. Before that, she was a military police officer in the Army National Guard and served in Afghanistan. She leaves behind 3 children. Rockford police are asking the community for help in their search for a missing woman. 70-year-old Mary Cordell was last seen on Thursday, June 19th at the Rockford Mass Transit District transfer station on North Lyford Road. She's 5 feet tall and was last seen wearing a floral shirt and light brown pants. Anyone with information on her whereabouts can contact Rockford Police. A Rockford small business owner is getting support from her customers as her newborn baby fights for her life. The woman's 3-week-old daughter was diagnosed with a rare heart condition. Eyewitness News reporter Blake Dietz spoke to the mother about this ordeal. Blake, she is getting some support from the community.
Yeah, that's right, and it certainly is an ordeal for 33-year-old Frankie Carlson and her family. Her newborn daughter, Tommie, was born with a heart defect that doctors told Carlson is among the 1% of the 1% of heart conditions. Now, while Tommie remains in Madison for surgeries to repair that defect, Carlson says she is struggling to pay for her daughter's care. She owns Mad Threading, that's an eyebrow threading business, and she started a campaign called Brows for Tommie, and that's hoping just a few more customers could help ease the financial burden. The family also started a GoFundMe that Carlson says has already received incredible support.
Just that anything anybody can do to help would be great. We're grateful for everybody who's already helped with the GoFundMe. We did not expect it to blow up that much, but Tommie is still fighting. We really didn't know what was going to happen. The first few days we didn't think that she was going to make it. So it's been 3 weeks now, so we're more hopeful.
Now, Carlson's GoFundMe has already raised nearly $4,000. A link to that fundraiser can be found in this story on our website. Just go to mystateline.com. Mimi.
All right, thanks, Blake. Rockford area chaplains, police chaplains, struggling with a shortage. When we come back, we'll hear about the important role they serve in our community. And coming up tonight at 6, with Independence Day just around the corner, experts are urging the community to help veterans. The impact fireworks can have on those who served.
Our high temperature made its way into the mid-80s today, a significant improvement from yesterday, but the weekend looks warmer and some of that humidity returns as well. I'll let you know if that's going to bring us any additional rain and storm chances coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Mimi Murphy, Wendell Edwards, Sports Director Scott Lever, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
They stand by first responders during their darkest hours. Police chaplains provide emotional and spiritual support to officers and people in crisis. The Rock River Chaplains Association is a dedicated group of volunteers who serve nearly a dozen police and fire departments in Winnebago County. They currently have 8 professional chaplains, but they need many more. Their therapy dogs are always a welcome sight, but serving as a chaplain isn't easy.
Whether it be a first responder or victim in an auto accident, a family crisis. We go on death notifications when the coroner's office calls, and we deal with tragedies. And our chaplains are able to provide that hope in a hopeless situation.
On Monday, we'll bring you the full story, including comments from Sheriff Gary Caruana and Head Chaplain Diane Krigbaum about the importance of chaplains in our community and how you can become one. A local museum invited kids and their families to enjoy sweet treats to help beat the summer heat. The Discovery Center put on an Ice Cream Dreams event for the weekly Family Friday Fun event. Guests were treated to a show using liquid nitrogen, teaching the science behind how the chemical creates ice cream. Kids also got to enjoy their own sundaes. Games and art stations were also made available to those in attendance. Organizers say it's all about giving kids a fun time, all while learning.
You know, what's the number one thing that you say to your kids? Do you want to go get ice cream? You know, it's such an adventure and it's just such a fun treat for them. And so we thought, what's that fun treat and how can we celebrate it all day long for the kids?
The Discovery Center's next event will be held Friday, the 4th of July, demonstrating the science behind fireworks, as well as a sensory-friendly fireworks display. And speaking of the 4th, Independence Day is a week from today. Belvedere is celebrating this weekend with its annual Heritage Days. Events run tonight until 10. Then tomorrow, there's a 5K run in Doty Park starting at 8 a.m. And then the Paint on State event starts at 9 a.m. There are lots more to see and do both downtown and at the fairgrounds all day, including a parade at 5 p.m. Heritage Days wraps up tomorrow evening with fireworks at the fairgrounds at dusk. This year marks the 61st 4th of July celebration in Rockford, and you can catch the fireworks from the comfort of your own home. Our annual special, A Celebration of Freedom, begins at 9 over on Fox 39. The fireworks start at 9:30. This year, we'll have 2 drones flying through the fireworks to bring you up close to all the sights and sounds. It's been hot the past couple of days, but we could be getting a bit of a break this evening. When we come back, Jordan tells us about a cool down and what we can expect for the weekend in his full forecast coming up next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Temperatures made their way into the mid-80s for many of us here today, a significant improvement from the 90s where many spots were around this time yesterday. And you can even see even more improvements when you look off to the north and to the northwest. 79 now in Freeport, 76 Monroe, 78 in Galena. The current temperature 82 in Rockford, Rochelle, and in DeKalb, as well as out in Woodstock. Our weather watcher Gene down in DeKalb reporting a temperature of 83 degrees, 60% humidity, that wind around 14 miles per hour. Meanwhile, Terry down in Genoa reporting 83 degrees as well, 69 for his dew point, a westerly wind 14 miles per hour, gusting to 22. No measurable rain for the day today. We're seeing some significant improvements in our temperatures as well as our humidity values, primarily because of that cold front that came in last night into the early part of this morning. And you can see that big drop in our dew point values up to the north and to the northwest. Not really a significant drop numbers wise, but I can tell you that that temperature or that dew point closer to the 70s is a big difference from when you feel the 60s for those dew points. And we're going to see a lot more of that refreshing air as we head through the evening tonight. You can also see a big drop in that moisture when you look with our rain and our satellite and radar. That cold front now positioned down to our south and to our east, pushing all of that moisture and those rain showers down along with it, leaving us underneath some drier conditions here this evening. We are still left with some of those clouds that are building in on the backside of that cold front. Still seeing some partly cloudy skies out there with many of our Mercy Health SkyTrack cameras, but a lot of those clouds are flat and not producing any rainfall. As we head through the evening tide, even that cloud cover will begin to clear out, and that will allow our temperature to continue to drop, eventually making it back down to the low 60s. That's about a 10-degree difference from where we were earlier this morning and really the last several nights in a row. That will also lead to a drop in the humidity values. We'll still see those dew points in the 60s, and as that temperature nears that dew point, we could see the potential for some patchy fog going into the early part of tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, that drop in humidity not lasting all that long, as we'll see a warm front lifting back through the area during the day on Saturday, so we're back to 87. We are dry for the daytime hours on Saturday, but note that overnight low back near that 70-degree mark. Sunday, 92 degrees, and that does come with a little bit more of that humidity. Dew points back to the 70s and possibly getting close to those mid-70s. That will also produce our next chances for some showers and storms, mainly going into Sunday evening. Here's Futurecast keeping us dry with that short-term high pressure as we head through the night tonight and going into the early part of tomorrow. We may see a few storm clusters develop off to our north and to our northwest Saturday evening and going into Saturday night. We likely stay dry from those, but could see a breezy outflow if it makes its way all the way down to the south and to the southeast. Then we get our higher coverage of showers and storms developing as we head into Sunday evening, and even going into the early part of Monday. The highest potential for any of those storms would likely be with damaging wind gusts and possibly some heavier rainfall. The highest confidence on that coverage up to the north in portions of Wisconsin. Meanwhile, here locally, much of the state line underneath that level 1 out of 5 or a marginal risk for severe weather. Humidity will be on the rise as we head into the weekend, as our heat index values likely pushing 90 to 100 degrees Saturday and going into Sunday, but we will see significant drops again going into the middle parts of next week as our dew points fall back down into the 60s. So still 87 to 92 degrees Saturday into Sunday, but but improvements on the way beyond the weekend, back closer to average for the next several days in a row. We'll likely see some showers and storms linger into Monday, and then our next chances arriving for the middle and end of the week.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Scott's in next with sports. Kyle Tucker will be back in Houston tonight with the Cubs, trying to take down his former team. And the Blackhawks tonight will try to add another building block to what they hope will one day be a championship team.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
The Cubs will be challenged this weekend by a good Houston Astros team. They'll play 3 games in Houston. Both teams have identical records, sitting 15 games above 500. These two teams did some major business last December when they made the Kyle Tucker trade. The Cubs got Tucker, the Astros got Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wesneski, and Cam Smith. It's interesting to note that Tucker's stats and Paredes' stats there are very similar. Tucker has the higher batting average by 30 points at .287, but both players have hit 16 home runs, and Tucker's 49 RBIs, only 3 more than Paredes' 46 RBIs. Tucker is the better player and far more desirable player, but the way Paredes has produced makes the Astros side of the deal not look so bad. Now, the Brewers are going to host the Rockies tonight. The White Sox will host the Giants. The Blackhawks will continue to build onto their young core of talent tonight. The first round in the NHL draft unfolds. The Blackhawks have the 3rd pick overall and the 25th pick overall. A lot of draft experts think the Blackhawks could go with forward Anton Frondell with that 3rd pick. He's an 18-year-old from Sweden who has an elite shot. Well, the NBA draft is complete. Duke's Cooper Flagg will now try to live up to the high expectations that goes with being the 1st pick. He's with the Mavericks.
I'm coming in just trying to learn and trying to get better every single day. And I think if I can do that to the best of my ability, I think expectations and pressures that other people, will put on me and our team, that will kind of work itself out. So, I'm just trying to come in and be the best that I can be and just win.
Well, Caitlin Clark's injured groin is still giving her trouble, so the Indiana Fever will go without her again tonight in Dallas against the Wings. That nixes the much-anticipated matchup between Clark and Wings rookie Paige Beckers. This will be the 7th game Clark has missed this season due to injuries. She didn't miss any games last season, and she didn't miss any games during her entire career at Iowa. That's sports. We'll be right back.
We may finally have a nice evening where it's a little more comfortable, may want to sit outside.
Right, yeah, I might go out in the hammock. I don't know. It's going to be a nice evening for really anything outdoors compared to the last several nights where we've really been humid and warm, sticky all the way through the late evening. Things are going to be a lot more refreshing here tonight, and that's mainly due to a short-term high pressure that'll pass overhead through the night tonight. First one, interactive radar from Rockford Glass & More keeps us dry as temperatures will drop back down to the low 60s tonight. But that is short-lived as we'll see a warm front bring some of that humidity back going into late Saturday. 87 the high temperature, 92 on Sunday. Could feel closer to the triple digits. More likely we'll see some scattered storm and rain chances return Sunday going into Monday.
All right, thanks, Jordan. And thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you at 6.